Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, as we will be talking about Barca's upcoming game against Alaves in La Liga. Now, of course, this is a little bit early. The game is on Sunday, but because of the incredibly early kickoff time, I thought, why not? Start the coverage nice and early. We're also going to have some thoughts today on the UEFA Champions League. We've also got really interesting quotes from Szczesny, plus discussion on Robert Lewandowski, along with the really interesting reports surrounding Lamine Yamal's reported new contract and the salary that he would earn. There's real discussion on that coming up, guys, and it's all here for you. Come on now, and let's do it. Because I would like to say, first of all, a very big thank you indeed for the fantastic super thanks coming in here from Arthur, from Zicky Frankie, from Yusuf as well there. Big shout out to Saad, who celebrated their birthday this month. I really do appreciate the support from all of you guys tuning in here today. And let's start first of all by talking a little bit more about the UEFA Champions League, of course, because this morning we had the final draw for the knockout phase there, the playoff round that, of course, Barca are not actually playing in. You know, we don't need playoff rounds. We're already through to the final 8. But hey, this is what's happening right here in the playoffs. And of course, the big clash is coming between Manchester City and Real Madrid. That should be a really interesting game, but Man City are going to need to pick it up a bit. And of course, right now, we still don't know which side of the draw Barca are going to be on. You know, Liverpool and Barca there, they will be on one side or the other, and they will be separated, of course, until the final, but we still don't know exactly which side. And of course, there's already a bit of talk, you know, which side would you rather be on? On the left here, we have Real Madrid, Man City are there, PSG as well are on that side, Juve too. On the right then, you've got the likes of Monaco, Dortmund as well are over there, Bayern and AC Milan. But at the end of the day, guys, here, I don't really think we should be, or that we need to be, looking for the easiest route, you know, to the final, for example. If you are looking for an easy route, you're probably not ready to win the competition, and I don't think we need to do that right now, because as Lamine Yamal actually said after the game against Atalanta, when he was asked about the draw, about the potential route for Barca, he said, look, we finished second of all of the teams, and we are favourites in every match that we play. He said whoever we will end up facing, we will be waiting for them and we will win. And I absolutely love that mentality, especially from such a young player here, to have that belief, that confidence there, and to say that publicly. That is what we want to convey here at Barca. We have performed incredibly well in the Champions League, and I think some people do forget that, and I'm talking about people like ESPN FC who constantly like to slate Barca. Now, we've done well in this competition. We have won 6 games, 1 draw, and 1 loss in the league phase. And we hear a lot about Barca being, inconsistent. You know, Barca aren't really able to continue at that kind of level. And yeah, you can say whatever you like there about our league form. But when you're talking specifically about the Champions League, you do not finish second out of 36 teams by accident. You do not finish in that position if you're inconsistent in that competition. So Barca here in the Champions League, they've been impressive, but like I say, it is that league form that maybe is holding us back in the public eye there. It's causing us some problems. It's affecting maybe our fear factor a little bit. You know, we should be doing better than we are in La Liga. We should be full of confidence right now. We should be going into every game that we play expecting to win. And that is why here I want to highlight the difference in Barca comparing our form in La Liga compared with the Champions League. Because as you can see right here, in terms of our win percentage, in the Champions League, we've won 75% of the time. La Liga, that's right down in 62%. And as you can see, we're scoring more goals in the Champions League. We are missing more big chances in La Liga. You know, we average there 1 extra big chance missed every single league game that we play compared with the Champions League. But in the Champions League too, we have conceded more goals. Now, that is skewed a little bit by the big goals that we conceded against Benfica, of course, in that game. But we have kept more clean sheets in the Champions League. And interestingly as well, we've had less of the ball. So we've effectively been more effective when we've had less of the ball, which is interesting in itself there. You know, Barca's style under Hansi Flick, we know we like the counter-attack. We know we like to do our best work there when exploiting space that teams leave in behind. And of course, in La Liga, there's a lot less space for us to operate in. There's a lot less teams there coming out and playing, and those are some of the difficulties that we have faced here. But what I want to say is, we have no playoff round. We will not play the Champions League now until March. So what that means is, we can fully prioritise for the next month or so La Liga, and only La Liga. Because for the season so far, I think we have prioritised the Champions League, we have really paid more attention and given more in those kinds of games, but now it's time to recover the league position. You can see right here, guys, we are facing a battle. There are 17 games to go in La Liga. We are only 3 points behind Atleti, but we are 7 behind Real Madrid. We are likely to have, remember, a better head-to-head record than them, though. And to be honest, I think we can catch up. I believe here that if Barca play as they can, if they can put together a run of results, we can catch ourselves up in the league, because with the way the league is, teams slip up. You know, a result happens here, a result happens there, but it means nothing unless you are there, unless you are breathing down Atleti's neck, Real Madrid's neck. You need to be putting in the performances, and we need to be winning regularly here, every weekend, every match, and that starts here against Alaves on Sunday. Now, in terms of team news ahead of Sunday's game there, one player who is still not available, it is Dani Olmo. Now, this will be the 4th game now that he has missed since he picked up an injury that, remember, was only expected to rule him out for a week of action. We all thought he's going to be back imminently, nothing at all to worry about. Since then, the return date has gone back and back and back, and now we're talking about maybe Valencia next week in the Copa del Rey. Will he be back in that game? Honestly, though, nobody seems to know. Nobody even inside the club right now could tell you, okay, he will definitely be back in that game. It is a guaranteed return date for Dani Olmo. People don't know, and it is a nervous situation, especially after all of the registration problems as well. Now to have this sort of lingering injury, it is not ideal for Dani Olmo. He is still not ready to return, and the concern, it very much continues. But one really positive injury update that we have right here is indeed Inigo Martinez, who, like we said, returned to training this week, and he has apparently been training really, really well as well. He's looking very, very good. He trained as well with the team again this morning, and it's very possible he could be back in time there for Sunday's game against Alaves. So Barca are really hoping that he's going to be. Flick would love to have him back in his squad again. He sees Inigo as such an important player. He's on the verge as well of extending his contract there by another year until 2026. So it's great to have him back in training now. He's returning to the team imminently, and it will be great to have him back. But I also want to talk here, guys, about the goalkeeping situation at Barca. We've spoken about that a lot in recent days here, and I just thought it was really interesting that Szczesny, he's come out and he's spoken about some of the demands that he's having right now as the Barcelona goalkeeper, and also how this may be a little bit different in terms of the style based on what he's being asked to do compared with previous clubs that he's played at. Because Szczesny has come out and said that our football here at Barca, it is beautiful, but the defence is very, very high up the field, which makes communicating very difficult. But he said, look, I have to adapt to them and not the other way around. It's a completely different way of playing compared to what I was used to in Italy there. So Szczesny openly admitting, look, this is not really what I'm used to here. This is not what I've really had throughout my entire career. Communicating with my defence when they're so high up, it is tricky, but I love the way that he has said there, I will adapt though. It's me that has to adapt and not the team that has to adapt to me. That is a really, really important way of thinking, because he said, tactically, thinking about Italian football, thinking about Serie A, it's a bit different. Italy is a bit ahead tactically, but he said technically though, Spain is much more advanced. He said here, teams keep on attacking even when they're ahead. He said we won 7-1 against Valencia, but whilst everybody else was celebrating, I was personally frustrated that we conceded a goal there. So even that game against Valencia when we were so comfortably ahead and relentlessly attacking, Szczesny though was disappointed that he didn't keep a clean sheet, and he did say conceding a goal in Italy, for example, has a lot more weight to it there. It is a much more significant thing because he said here, you could concede a goal and you will still have more chances to score. The attacking culture here, it's amazing. Football is faster and it is more creative. So that is interesting there, that maybe he feels as though conceding a goal, especially in this Barca team right now, even if you're conceding 1, 2, 3, even 4, for example, against Benfica, we still ended up winning the game. And of course, it's not always ideal to be conceding that many goals, but I can see where he's coming from on that. But I think one of the most special quotes actually here from Szczesny, a player who's seen so much throughout his career, he said the energy the youngsters bring is amazing. I really enjoy playing with the youngsters here. And he said, I played with players like Cristiano Ronaldo, Buffon, Ozil, but Lamine Yamal, he is the most technically gifted player I have ever seen. Ever. He said what he does in training is unbelievable there. So that is incredibly high praise from Szczesny compared with the players that he's already worked with in his career, to say Yamal is the most technically gifted player he's ever seen. And that is ultimately what we are all seeing in every game. But from one Polish international to another, guys, and I want to talk here a little bit about Robert Lewandowski, because Bio here coming in on the super thanks yet again. Absolutely fantastic. He has spoken there about some of the concerns that he has about Lewandowski in the long term and exactly who could be his replacement. And I just want to say right here and now, guys, it's a question that I think is becoming more and more and more prominent as we approach this summer transfer window. Because for a while at Barca, it seemed as though Lewandowski, he was here, he was the big name, of course, he was the number 9, and it was undisputed. He was almost seen as untouchable in this team. But I think as this season is progressing right here, you can see behind the scenes now, and even out there on the field, things are changing a bit. I think there is certainly a feeling now that Barca are planning for life after Robert Lewandowski, because I thought there was a really interesting stat here from Sport that Hansi Flick has now replaced Lewandowski in 17 of the 30 games that he started this season, and 8 of those 17 times that he's been replaced was actually when Barca were trailing or tied and looking for a goal. So he is ultimately saying right now, Lewandowski's not always the answer. And I think that is a big statement there from Hansi Flick, somebody that really does know Lewandowski well. He knows what he can do. He also knows what he can't do. And of course, as well, at the age of 36, we're clearly not always relying on him anymore. We are taking him off more frequently. We are also seeing him on the bench. And Barca, when he's not there, are also playing with some freedom, with some excitement as well. And I think it's going to be interesting to see ahead of the summer, especially with Saudi, for example, spending huge money again, of course, aren't they, in this transfer window. Are they going to try again for Lewandowski? Are they going to come back again and maybe finally tempt him? I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know if Lewandowski would accept that move still, but I do think here that we are moving closer and closer to the next step, really, in terms of Barca centre forwards, which I think makes it even more sort of relevant right now when we move on to talk about this potential Lamine Yamal contract. Because right now, Barca have pretty much wrapped everything up with Yamal. He really wants to stay at Barca, he wants to stay here long term, and he will only sign that deal, though, once he becomes 18 years old there, which will be on the 13th of July. And what's come out today in the media, and again, this is only speculation at this stage, but it's being said that Yamal will earn roughly 7 to 8 million euros per year. I believe that's the net figure there, so that is something to bear in mind. And he will become, with this new deal, one of Barca's highest earning players, behind the likes of Lewandowski, behind Frenkie de Jong, behind Araujo as well on that new contract there. So not right at the top, but he will be one of the highest earners at the club. And right now, there appears to be debate about this, because lots of people will immediately say, well, he's such a young player, he's at such a young age right now. Should Barca be paying him big money, really tempting him there with a big offer and making him one of the highest earners at the club? And I understand that. We need to look after our wage bill. We need to make sure here that everything is economically sound, as we have been doing, certainly over the past few years. But what I would also say is, even though Yamal is very young, you don't want to hand out huge money to young players, you also can't forget, though, he is now one of the best players in the world. And you can't get around that. Just because he's young, it doesn't mean he's not showing a level, showing a quality here where he is among the very best out there right now. And we all know that attacking players, they will earn the most money. They are the ones who are ultimately able to decide games, to really bring that X factor. And of course, the problem that we have in football right now is, well, if you didn't pay Yamal the money, if you didn't give him there a bit of an increase in wage, if you didn't actually reward him for the form and the quality that he's showing, somebody else would. You know, it's not as though here, if Barca just don't pay it, there will be no suitors, no takers for somebody like Lamine Yamal. Every club in the world would love him. They would snap our arm off to get him, and we've got him. And I think it's a case here of looking after him, making sure that ultimately we're not going too big too soon, because of course there will be other renewals further down the road. We've got to be very, very careful with this. But I personally can understand here why Barca want to tie him down to a long-term deal. It will be many, many years at the club. And I think he deserves the money here. I think he has shown enough of that quality, enough of that talent, and he is already delivering, even though he is young. He is still absolutely extraordinary for his age, guys. So let me know your thoughts on that there. Do you agree with Barca offering that kind of money, giving Yamal that kind of salary at 18 years old? Do you think it's a wise move, or do you believe it's the wrong move? Let me know all of those thoughts in the comments down below. Let's hope on Sunday Barca can step up. Every single player here, we need to get firing in La Liga. Let me know exactly how you'd line up in that game and all of your score predictions. I will catch you soon in that earlier kickoff time on Sunday. Thank you indeed for all of the great support. But until next time, as always, Vesga! Real Barça!